Hello everyone, this is Jasmine, aka gladiatorinsweats, and today is Wednesday, July 18th, 2018. So happy Wednesday to everyone. I do apologize in advance for any raspiness of my voice and just any coughing or whatnot. I'm still getting over some symptoms, so just bear with me as I start to heal. I just did want to start getting back into things because I am feeling a lot better now. So I did mention yesterday, or pretty much just update everyone with the little video on wanting to include more of the 13 calendar or 13 moon calendar into my own daily messages and whatnot, as I start to try and work to transition myself to this calendar, and maybe it'll also help others to maybe learn more about it or transition as well, or just whatnot. I just find that it's not only resonant with me, but I also do believe that it would be in the future to be able to move into this flow of time, or really just moving out of the 12 months. I mean, I feel like there's material out there if you do want to look it up and learn more about it yourself. I'll provide any info that I would like to, but honestly, I don't feel at this point that I'm any sort of like master or any sort of like expert on the topic. So I would like to provide links and stuff like that. So I'm working on doing things like that. But just to move into the message for today. So the galactic signature for today is the red overtone dragon. And so you could go and read the code yourself. I'll go ahead and read it for you. I empower in order to nurture, commanding being. I seal the input of birth with the overtone tone of radiance. I'm guided by the power of universal water. And so upon meditating on this, I just felt that it felt like lava. Like that's what came to my mind, was like fiery energy of creation, of like lava, where it's destructive but creative in the same time. Like it's very, depending upon your perspective, it could be destructive or very constructive. I felt like an Aries and Leo energy. So it made me think of Chiron, Aries, and made me think of the North Node in Leo, because I was thinking of this dragon energy that I'm picking up on this week. And I feel like this is just because of the fact that we do just have this intense energy at the nodal points. Again, with this energy of recreation, of wanting to, continuing to learn to love, to nurture ourselves, and nurturing ourselves out of our wounds that have led us to feel that we cannot be our most authentic selves. And I've been listening to a lot of Kanye West, or at least like I've just been kind of replaying his most recent work like over and over and over. And I just feel like there's just a lot in it, and maybe I just resonate a lot with it because of my own like personal resonancy. But what kept coming to mind was this quote in the very first song of his Yay album. And it says, "The most beautiful thoughts are beside the darkest." And this is what I felt, this is what I feel for the collective, is that there's maybe a realization of finding our most truest, authentic selves, our kind of most beautiful selves, when we're in our most vulnerable, I don't want to say most downtrodden, but like when we're broke, like most broken, to where we have to surrender, to the process, and to surrender to a higher energy. We have to surrender, essentially what I think of, to our higher self. We have to surrender and be like, okay, I can't continue to like spin in the same cycle. Hope my microphone didn't mess up too much, but spinning in the same rut. Like I'm thinking of when a truck or just like a vehicle or anything is like stuck in like slushy mud. That's what comes to mind. It's like, and I'm just thinking of like the tires just spinning and spinning and spinning in like this. And I'm not thinking of like dirt. Like I'm seeing it as like a swamp, like really like muddy water. I'm thinking of water and earth. And so, yeah, that's just what I'm thinking of, is us really having to surrender to the pain a little bit, and having to kind of surrender to the emotional process in order to see what does need to be seen. I feel like this is a lot of that Jupiter in Scorpio, but I also feel like this is because after having looked, Jupiter is beginning to trine to Neptune. And so I feel like that's also what this is. This pulling things out of our imagination, or not just pulling things out of our imagination, but it's really letting us and helping to aid us in this process of being able to kind of really deal with the things. Like, it's like dark night of the soul type of energy is what I felt, which I mean, when you're in it, it's not fun. I mean, I guess that's kind of an understatement for sure. But I guess ultimately what I do feel from this is that there is like not just like a light out of this, but that it's through this that you're able to harness this energy, transmute this energy to move forward. What first came to mind when I was looking at these cards was the Empress and the heart. And so I was thinking of opening our hearts to Christ energy, to this Syrian energy that I feel is coming through, helping us to move out of these mental prisons that have just kind of been created out of like PTSD, like emotional trauma that kind of have not just replayed in our minds, but it feels in our reality. Like we keep replaying these same sort of pains through, multiple relationships, or through multiple jobs, or through multiple homes, or whatever it is that it may be for us. And yeah, I feel like this is getting out of like these deep, like Scorpio waters. What I also thought of was looking at this lotus, and I thought of this Kali energy, and we do have Sun opposite Lilith right now. So I feel like that's also what this is us almost feeling, really having to release like shame and maybe guilt of having to maybe do things for ourselves when it may appear that it harms others. I don't know why that just came to mind, but that's just what I thought of. I feel that, or not feel, but the cards show the challenges will continue to be, or the challenges have continued to be, like the fear and the pain that's connected to these past memories. And as I did mention, this dark night of the soul energy, where when I do see these dark clouds, it makes me think of like, again, of the water, the emotions, but the emotions are tied to the thoughts. They're tied to the, again, like this, the imagination, the thoughts, the astral. And so we're really having to release this, and it's releasing this through, for some of us, having to be more aggressive in times where we're really having to reassess the ways we may be aggressive and show our aggression, maybe changing the ways in which our aggression, the form in which our aggression takes, like, moving from a very physical or maybe like physically destructive thing, and more in breaking down like the mental of ourself to be able to, like, what came to mind was really like ego death. When I see like this 3 and the 8 of swords, I just thought of like putting those together, having this 11 of swords coming out with a brand new clarity through an ego death, or through this kind of surrendering of the ego. Also feel the full moon will bring this charge, or any additional charge and support needed to completely embrace this divine feminine warrior energy. That's the way that I've been seeing this Queen of Rods lately, is as this like not just divine feminine energy, but this warrior like energy. And we also have Pallas, I believe that's how you pronounce it, that is conjunct the North Node. And so, Pallas it's named after Pallas Athena of wisdom, of courage, of, strategy in warfare. And so that's essentially what this need to kind of change the way we're going to go about the fight. And it's really, a spiritual war that's going on. And that's what I feel here, even with this Six of Wands, with this Nine of Wands that's up top. I feel like this is about us fully moving past these burdens and struggles and some of these issues. The way that even with this Nine of Wands in this card or in this deck, I see him as like really moving away. Even with the Six of rods, the way that the rods are behind him, like he's moving forward, he's keeping his eye focused on the goal, not even looking back towards the past anymore. And then with this Nine, I see it as like making a turn, and I see it's making a turn to the left. And so when I think of a left, I think of going down an unorthodox road, or a road that's less traveled. Also came to mind was Sagittarius energy for some reason. So just overall, I just felt like this was a lot of fire energy, all ends, or maybe that could be just these different energies that are just being activated in everyone at this time. But I believe that is really it that I had. Bottom of the deck, as you see with this Devil card, I see this as we have Lilith and Capricorn opposite the Sun. That's what I'm feeling this is that we're kind of learning to use our power in better ways for those that are going through those sorts of lessons, for those of us that are learning to embrace that energy more. I just feel like that's really this carry of energy today. So I'll end it there. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for subscribing, commenting, all of that great stuff. I appreciate the love, and I hope that you feel mine as well. So I haven't put out any new material in like the past week since I've been sick, but I'm gearing up to start putting stuff out. There's actually just a lot that's going on this next coming week as far as content. So I'm really excited about that, just as I'm really wanting to gear my content towards the 13 moon calendar, towards just this, I'll explain it a little bit more, as I'm just continuing, to not just synthesize and analyze it with my conscious mind, but I'm definitely starting to feel it out more, so where I feel I can better express it without getting super technical about it. So I really want to try and make it easy for people, because not that the information is necessarily hard, but I know that for me, it can be easy for me to pick up on patterns. It's easy for me to see the patterns and things, and it's not that easy for other people. And this content that I, as I've been learning about it myself, and I mean, I picked up on it a few months ago, and even then, like, it really was kind of weird. And as I had started learning about it, it really was like a learning curve for me. And so for those that maybe it's also a learning curve, I'd like to help others with that too, if it's something they're interested in. So I guess what I will do is include a link or a few links down below to like the main site and to like another additional site, if you would like to just understand where this comes from. And yeah, I'll talk more about that next week. So I'll just end it with that, so I don't get too crazy with the announcements or updates. You can also follow me on Instagram. Again, there's links to all of this as far as like my Instagram, so you don't have to like search and stuff. That's usually where I go for like updates and whatnot that I do on the daily. If I don't upload a video in my stories and stuff, I use the post mainly for daily like message content. So my stories is where my updates and stuff are at, for those that have been wondering. So as I meant to do and end it like 2 minutes ago, but I'll end it here. So I hope everyone has a wonderful Wednesday. For those that have been sick just as I have. I am wishing all of you healing and hoping that you guys all start to feel better. And not just that, but even just start to kind of work on our mindsets when we do view illness. At least for me, when I'm starting to understand why I'm feeling this way, I do start to feel and recognize that usually when I am going through these things, it's because I'm going through some sort of change, some sort of good, positive change that is ultimately for my highest good. So I hope that that is felt by everyone as well. And I just pick up on like a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety about the changes. I mean, I have been a naturally anxious person myself. So that's actually very different for me in the past year to not be so nervous about the changes that are coming forth, even for my like own very personal self. But yeah, just take it easy. Don't put too much on your plate. Just kind of relax, especially as we're gonna have Mercury retrograde. I'm not entirely sure how many days from now, but I'm sure it's pretty soon. So I feel, as I've been mentioning, it's a time to really go within, especially this week. This week, I feel like we really can just not really settle in, but this week we can really mentally prepare and just kind of get ourselves refreshed again to continue forward. So I'll again end it here. So sending you guys all my love, wishing you many blessings, and until next time.